Hello boys, this is White Pill Media and welcome back to the channel.
Hey, back off. I don't know you, so leave me alone. I'm gonna scream.
This video is going to be my review of Deus Ex Invisible War. Last video I did was on the original Deus Ex. If you haven't played Deus Ex, I highly recommend it. I played it for the first time just a few weeks ago. I really loved it. So I would recommend playing it spoiler free, but if you've played that game, then I'd say go ahead and watch this. This is a video on why I think it's not an okay game or a decent game, or oh, it just couldn't live up to the hype of the first game and actually it's okay in its own right. That's all bullshit. All those people are wrong who say that this is not a decent game, this is not an okay game. It's not like a yeah, fine. This is terrible. This is really bad. This video is also going to discuss why the Templars are the morally correct choice and why the developers sabotage them on purpose when they really should be the most nuanced and interesting faction presented here. It's going to be full spoilers for Invisible War. If you haven't played it, I would recommend not playing it. It was bad. It was a bad waste of time, but I'm glad to do it, I guess, to just review it and have this for you. So if you want to hear me like rant and bitch, that's fun. I actually have footage this time, so that's great. So I figured out the whole OBS thing. So I've grown a little. I'm not as retarded as I once was. So that's going to be better than my Deus Ex vid. And I might have some music in the video. I might not. I don't know if YouTube's going to freak out about it, but there is this band that plays a few songs in the game called the Kidney Thieves. I had never heard of them before playing the game. That's actually one of the highlights is the Kidney Thieves music, so there might be some in there. I have a link to some of the songs they do in the game, so you can check that out if you want. I'm going to go through my entire playthrough of the game level by level, but before we get into that, I'm just going to generally list out some of the issues I had with the game, just from the start. Story, characters, biomods being bad or very redundant, universal ammo, the ending for sure, a black screen, which would sometimes happen when I would try playing the game. I was able to fix this by just closing down like everything that was going on in the background, like tabs and that. And once I did that and had like nothing else open while playing the game, it worked, but that was still annoying. There are no skills in this game, unlike Deus Ex. There is no like log for the conversations. You had that in the original game. That is gone here. There are lots of loading screens per level, like in each little level there are a bunch of loading screens. They went by pretty fast, but when it loads you into an area, it would take me to desktop, and then after a couple seconds it would bring me back. It would like open another instance of the game and then shut one down and then bring me back. It was weird because of the size of these levels, because this was made really for the Xbox and then also for the PC. The levels are all like very small. They're rather cramped. And there's not a whole lot to explore like the first game where you had these big, expansive levels. That's all gone. And since there are no skills, you don't get like XP for exploring areas like, wow, you made it into this like hard to get into room that had a bunch of guards or robots. Here's a little XP because there's no skills. So there's that. Just pasting of characters and like, you should care about this character. I'm like, I don't know this character. I don't give a shit about them. And then just like the story and all that, really didn't like that. The amount of levels, there are only 6 levels in this game. We'll get into that later on, but there's only 6. For comparison, I guess I play games kind of slow, or I was really taking my time and just exploring things. I think I spent 16, 17 hours playing Invisible War. I spent 40 hours just about playing Deus Ex for the first time. So yeah, there you go. Like, and I would be willing to play Deus Ex again, like right now, just vanilla version of it, because there's a lot to do. Like, I feel like it'd be worth my time to try it again, try it a few different ways. But I don't feel like I'm really missing anything. Like, I don't want to play Invisible War again, like ever. The inventory system has been changed. It's no longer a grid system. It's just bad overall. It's smaller. Like, yes, your rocket launcher, your shotgun, your assault rifle, these all take up one square in your inventory. Unlike before where it would take up like a bunch of space, like your rocket launcher and all that. But it made you have to like juggle stuff with your inventory. It did annoy me when I was playing Deus Ex, and I was like figuring out the inventory for the first time. But once I understood, like, hey, this is a grid, I have to, like, no, I can't carry this and that. I have to be a little more choosy about what I'm bringing. So I like it more in the first game. You definitely had more space and stuff to do. I ran out of ammo a shit ton, especially early on in the game, because you use the same ammo for every gun. And like your shotgun, your sniper, your bigger guns use more ammo than your smaller guns. And it just feels like you get punished. Like there would be times where I would like miss a couple shots and I'm like, I have to reload to save. I'm out of ammo. I'm not very good at melee just because I didn't like put any bio mods into melee, so it just would have been a pain in the ass. So I really had to nail my shots at the beginning. I had a lot more ammo towards the end, but it was still like I never felt like flush with ammo really. Even when I was like full of ammo, I'm like, I'm going to use the majority of this in like my very next battle, and I probably won't like recover enough ammo to like compensate for that. There is another change, and I'm kind of mixed on if this was good or bad, but like, in the first game, when you would aim your gun, it would be rather slow. Cursor would like slowly narrow in on your target, but like, I think it made sense. Like if you're running and then you draw your gun, you're not going to have like instant perfect aim with it. Like in this game, there's no like slowdown or anything with your aiming. It's perfect every time. But I don't know, it was like something that you got to improve as you leveled up your skills, and of course the skills are gone. So I think I liked it in the first game. I think it made sense, that you just, it forced you to be like a little slower at first, but I think that fit in with like the game and the atmosphere and the setting. While this is more like action heavy, and it kind of has that atmosphere, I think just because the levels are smaller. Also, just like the box art. The box art is a guy pointing a pistol, so it's a little different. It's going for a different crowd, right? But yeah, that's another difference. Oh, and you can't like hack or enter computer systems anymore as well because there's no hacking skill. There is a hacking biomod, but like, yes, it was somewhat annoying in like big levels if you're getting multiple codes and you have to go to your code screen and you could like mix them up or confuse them, so you'd have to type in multiple codes. But there was some immersion with typing in a code yourself for computers or just keypads or whatever. And here it does it all for you, which is just somewhat convenient, but it takes something away as well. Gun mods. You could dump a lot of mods into a singular gun in the original game. Like you could put a bunch of like damage mods on your pistol or whatever you wanted for recoil, scopes, whatever, increase the mag size, reload time. In this, you get 2 gun mods per gun, and no, you can't take the mods off and put them on other guns or swap them around. You permanently put those mods on that gun. That sucks. That was a real pain in the ass. And the mods just don't feel great, They just, I don't know, they didn't feel great. A lot of the mods felt like a little useless, especially like the glass destabilizer. I think there's maybe one part of the game where that felt useful. Otherwise, not really. Resources were way too abundant. It didn't feel like you had to work for anything like biomods, especially. There were too many goddamn biomods in this game, whereas like augmentations and augmentation upgrade canisters were a really big deal in the first game, and you really like hunted and searched them out, and it was rewarding when you found them. That's completely gone. You get a lot of money in this game, and you really have very little to spend it on. Like, I think you can buy ammo maybe once or twice in the game, when like I definitely would have bought ammo if I had the option, and just not a lot that you need to spend your money on. So I ended up finishing the game with like thousands of dollars, and there really wasn't much more I could purchase. And probably my biggest complaint is the original game. It was dark, maybe a little too dark in the lighting sometimes for me personally. But it was dark. It had this cyberpunk, grimy, gritty atmosphere. You had these real-world conspiracies of like the 90s. There was like cool future stuff and like human augmentation and robots, but it all felt within grasp. It felt like something that could be achievable, right? But now we are 20 years in the future from the first game. It feels like a sci-fi fantasy thing. the tone, the atmosphere, it felt very, very off and wrong for me. Like, it doesn't feel like we're set in the same universe. Like, if you had a Halo game, what do you expect from Halo? Like, a little horror from the Flood, but it's like a military action game. And if you had a Halo game that was like a crafting simulator or whatever, you farmed as Master Chief, and you had like the Halo 4 Cortana as your little trad wife, and you grew virtual wheat, whatever, it would be genre breaking, right? It doesn't fit with the rest of the games in the series. This is how Invisible War feels to me, just with the setting, right? Because in the first game, you had like addicts and homeless and veterans from like previous like military clashes and like their camps of the homeless and shanty towns, and it felt dreary. It felt incredibly ugly. Here, you really don't get that. It all feels... I never really believed this game. That's a long list of complaints, but now we can get into the game. As I said, full spoilers. We open up with a intro cutscene. We're in future Chicago with like hoverbots. These things are just, they're too future for me. They don't fit with the setting. There's a weird guy in a robe. He activates like a nanite bomb in the middle of Chicago. And then some people in this building, they're freaking out and they're evacuating as this bomb goes off and it's like devouring the entire city. And then you escape. You wake up in Seattle and you are Alex D, and you're at the Tarsus Academy in Seattle. And you are Alex D, and people will call you Alex D. D stands for nothing, and everyone else has a first name and a last name except for you. Now, this is not a clever or interesting twist, because I had just played the original Deus Ex. Like, I finished it, and then I started Invisible War immediately after. And in the last level, Area 51, you come across a cloning tank, and it says Alex Denton on the cloning tank. I also read through that Deus Ex Bible, and from the Deus Ex Bible, the interviewer asked, so what's up with Alex Denton? He says, we can't talk about Alex Denton right now. So it's not exactly shocking or surprising when we get the twist later on. And I'm like, really? We couldn't just give him like a fake last name that starts with D? So it's like a little surprising, like just a little bit. Oh, and then when we get to Seattle, we're almost like immediately under attack by some other group. Apparently we're under attack by some people called the Order. There's some red-haired chick. Her name is Billy. She's like supposed to be our friend. I think our voice actor is worse. Like he was like J.C. Denton was very robotic and very cold in the first game, but I think that fits, right? That really like fit for him. I liked his voice. I know not all the voice acting was great in the first game, but I thought it was okay. Like, it was serviceable. Here, I think our voice actor is a lot worse, and I think he's like a fairly popular voice actor. Like, he does a good job. Whoever was like the director just gave him bad direction, so he just didn't do a great job. You can pick like to be a female, Alex Denton, and I think that voice actor is like okay. I think it's actually Cortana, but anyways, so we're at the Tarsus Academy, being told by Layla Nassif, who is like one of the scientists here, that we're gonna like be choosing a company that we work for. We meet some of our classmates, Billy, like I said. There's also Leo, and then Clara. Leo is a dick. He calls us Chicago, right? He calls us Chicago when Chicago has just been destroyed in this nanite terrorist bombing. Like, millions of people are dead. And he's like, hey, Chicago, what's up? It's kind of fucked up, really. And then Clara is just like, golly gee, I'm Miss Midwest, and I'm just happy to be here. And everyone's like kind of gaslighting you, like, hey, I saw a guy die in the hallway. Are we under attack? He's like, no, it's part of the simulation. Chill, relax. And then we are being attacked by the group, the Order. They're like religious fanatics. That's what we're told. Billy says that we're test subjects here. Oh, and another thing with the nanite bomb. So the Order apparently did the bombing in Chicago. It turns out that this is the Templars. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll explain more later. But if you played the game, you'll know. So the Templars did a nanite bomb in Chicago. Why could the Templars here not do another nanite bomb? Like, I don't know if it's ever explained or what, but they send in like maybe 6 or 10 guys with like pistols to go attack this Tarsus Academy. If you had one nanite bomb, do you have two nanite bombs? I don't know. Maybe they only had the one, but whatever. Billy also like hacks into some stuff. The ceiling in your room fades away, and there are people like watching you through this observation glass. And this happens within maybe the first 10 minutes of you being given control. Like you wake up in your room in Seattle after the intro cutscene. You talk with Layla and Steve a little bit. You go and talk with Billy. Then you go downstairs. You speak with Leo. You speak with Clara. And then the Order is attacking. And then you're just escaping through the facility. And on your way out, Billy reveals the observation deck in your room. And that actually you're being spied on all this time. I think this is awful. This is way too fast. It has no impact, right? I know maybe the first game is a little cliche. Like, turns out I'm working for the bad guys. But, like, it still works where you have, like, several missions working for you, Natco, with Gunther, Anna, with Manderley. And then you, like, speak with Paul. You have the whole plane scene with Lebedev. And, yeah, and then it turns, right? It's slower. It builds up. You get to know people a little more. And then it has more of an impact when you're in the M12 facility. And then, like, holy shit, I'm going through UNATCO. Like, I think that's effective. It's stronger. But with this, it's like 10 minutes in the game, and then it's like, you can't trust the Tarsus Academy people. They're also like maybe doing some shady shit. I do understand not wanting it to be like just like the original where you're with the Tarsus people for like several chapters, and then it gets revealed just like the first game that maybe you're working for not great people. But by doing it as fast as it's done here, it just loses impact for me. Some lady from the Order, Lin Mei Chen, says that, hey, we're on your side even though we like send people to kill you. That was an accident. We totally didn't mean to kill you. Anyways, you should join the Order. And then we're in Seattle. It's our first hub area. It's divided into upper and lower Seattle, and the upper part of Seattle, and you're told to go meet up with the Order. You're also told to meet up with the WTO. The WTO are like kind of the law and order guys. They establish enclaves in cities, which are like wealthy, safe, secure areas. Upper Seattle, we have the Tarsus Academy of Club Vox, which is a nightclub. We have the Emerald Suites, which are some apartments. The WTO Terminal, which is like kind of a hangar bay area. And then we have a Pequod's coffee shop. And then in Lower Seattle, we have the Order Church. We have a Greasel Pit bar where like Greasels from the first game, they can fight each other. You can gamble. And it's also a bar. We have the Heron's Loft apartments. We have Sophia Sachs' hangar. She's like just this criminal. And then we have Queequeg's coffee shop. I'll talk more about the coffee shops later on. But they're not funny. They're not interesting. They're boring as shit. And if you like them, you're probably a fucking Redditor. Get out. And the thing with Seattle is, while it is our little hub world, it's very barren, right? There's not a ton of NPCs walking around. It's not like New York, which had like a lot of people. And every location I just listed is a loading screen to get to that area. It's not that the original game didn't have loading screens for areas. Like Hell's Kitchen, for example, you had like the Town Hotel, the Free Clinic, the Underworld Tavern, Smuggler's Place, the Warehouse, I guess it's like the Import Place, which led to the Warehouse District, like the NSF New York headquarters. You had, the Majestic 12 base, like in the sewers, but just more space in between it. Like you could definitely walk further and go and like interact with more people in Hell's Kitchen before hitting the loading screen. And like Hong Kong, also it has loading screens, but like you had the canals, you had VersaLife, Jock's apartment, like the Lucky Money place with the triads, the MJ12. When you like enter that level, you're in the MJ12 Hella base. Maggie Chow has an apartment. There's the like luxury suites building. There's the road that's like shut down. There's like some loot back there. Tracer Tong's laboratory and like his little compound, the market, and like there's just all along the like canals, like there's that one little bar, and it just feels really, really alive just with all the people walking around, their conversations. And yes, to enter like any of the places I listed, you would get a loading screen, but there was just more on the way to those places. And then when you would go inside them, there's just also more going on. And we have this hologram of a guy who's talking about Denton. Denton has kind of faded into myth and obscurity in the 20 years since the first game ended. There's mention of the Knights Templar who hate augmented humans. And I think also just with like the extra loading screens where like it kicks you to desktop and then back into the game definitely made it feel worse when you're traveling in between areas. So yeah, that was an added annoyance as well. Oh, another thing with Upper Seattle, there are two sets of thugs and they don't make sense. In Upper Seattle, you have like hoverbot security drones and also just regular WTO officers patrolling around. Thugs have taken over the subway station on the way to the WTO terminal. I just don't buy it. They exist so close to security officers that it doesn't work for me that they're there. I don't think you can report them to the security officers. If you can, great. But I didn't test that, but I don't think you can. It doesn't work. We're just too close. It's kind of like Fallout 4 or wherever, where it's like, here are these like evil super mutants that eat people. They live 50 feet away from some human settlement. I don't believe it. And even the thugs that are on the way to the Inclinator, it would make sense if there are thugs waiting for you at the bottom of Lower Seattle, like once you got off the Inclinator. That would make sense to me. But not them existing in Upper Seattle. If Upper Seattle is supposed to be the safe haven, it doesn't make sense. Decided to go to the Club Vox first, and yeah, there are more people here. And I said something about like the atmosphere not being the same as the first game, but this game does show that we are in a dystopian future here. I mean, black people and gay people still exist in the future. That's pretty dystopic. But yeah, we have the Minister of Culture here who is a black gay guy who asks us to help him out. A literal mission to like go to his apartment and like to maybe participate in a threesome with him, and you can be his chamber boy. That's a quest in the first level of Deus Ex Invisible War. I really love this game so far. We get to meet NG Resonance. She is a hologram talking to this lonely guy. I think his name's Bud. This is too real. I'll just play some of that.
NG Resonance, what would you like to talk about?
I'm Bud Puckett. Remember me?
Bud, it's been 3 days. How was your date?
I don't know.
Come on, Bud, fill me in. Did you hit it off?
Not really. That so-called dating service ripped me off.
Tell me about the young woman.
Well, first of all, she wasn't young. Hey, NG, I have a question.
Yes?
I know you're just software. Probably have holocoms all over the world.
We'll have more fun if you pretend I'm NG.
But I was wondering, does the real NG ever see these conversations, like watch recordings or anything?
Sure, NG loves hearing from my fans.
Yeah?
Yes, I love my fans.
Hi, NG. I hope you're listening. I'd like to meet you for real sometime.
Of course I'm listening. Don't be silly.
I'm Bud Puckett. I live in Upper Seattle. Call me sometime, maybe next time you're in town, okay? She's all yours. Great, isn't she?
She's actually one of the things I like about this game, and she appears like in every club, like in almost every mission, and you can actually like change the song in like the nightclub that you're in. And that's kind of cool. That was pretty good music. It's from Kidney Thieves, like I said. And the woman voicing NG Resonance is actually like their singer. So there's that. Yeah, you're supposed to like recover data or some shit. There's like the Order who talks to you on like your info link. And there's also the WTO who's this bitch. And she also talks to you on her info link. And the Emerald Suites, it's just a couple apartments you can break into. You can break into Layla Nassif's apartment. That lady, because you're all supposed to find out where she's heading. The penthouse is in 2 fucking levels in the Emerald Suites. The Minister of Culture's penthouse is in a separate level from the Emerald Suites. What a joke. You could load in so much shit in the original game. I think for the shipyard, a lot of the ship was one loading screen. I think it was broken up into 2, but a shit ton of the ship that you could walk around and interact with was one loading screen. And I'm like, you literally can't load in the apartments, which isn't much, and the penthouse, which is also very small. Jesus Christ, are you kidding? But the minister is like smuggling something. The Emerald Suites, I just thought was kind of meh. When you die, the game just says terminal. There's no soul. In the first game, when you died, it would like spin around and there'd be music. That was cool. In the Vox Club, if you go to the VIP area, you can speak with an Omar trader. They look and sound kind of interesting. I kind of like these guys. These are like black market dealers, and you get access to their markets. These are like the only people you can buy shit from. And like the club owner, because you did a little quest for him. None of the quests are very long or compelling, but you did a little quest for him, so you get access to the VIP suites. Then I'm like, there's going to be people you want to meet in the VIP suites. I'm like, okay, cool. There's one Omar guy. That is like the one guy in the VIP suites. I thought there would be like 3 or 4 or something, but it's just one guy. The Omar say they're stealing like after VersaLife, like they're gathering shit from VersaLife. Wanted me to go down to the club's basement and like record data from some like gray from the first game, those little aliens, and then just send him the data files. So I had to lockpick one door. I'm sorry, not lockpick, multi-tool. There are no more lockpicks. It's just multi-tools, and multi-tools act as magic fucking wands. Just electricity or magic shoots from them and opens all doors. There's no hacking either. There is a bio mod for it, but there's not like a skill. You can't just walk up to a computer and try like force hack it. That's not an option. Very gay. But that's all I had to do. I had to wait for like one thug to walk by. I used a single multi-tool to open the door. I went downstairs. Downstairs was like one laser wire, which is very easy to disable, and like a single fucking spider drone. And that's it. And then I went upstairs and I got a free fucking biomod canister from the Omar guy. And then he called us a preferred customer. Why? Like I did a single like 2-minute side quest. Like that's it? Like, we're now permanent valued customers. I don't think that's true. I do think you have to, like, perform their little, like, quest for each level that they're in to be, like, to get preferred customer status. But, like, still, it was like, this was a nothing quest. Like, did it really have to be me to solve this for you? Like, this took 2 minutes to do. It's not like you had to go downstairs. There's a bunch of guards walking around, drones, dogs, whatever. Like, you would have a big, expansive level in the first game, and then you have to hack into this computer or something and then get out. Not like a ton of stealth options overall. Some levels do have more stealth, but you know, it's just it's very limited. You don't really have like the vents. Like, yes, I know in the first game the vents didn't really have enemies in them, but it felt like okay. Like, I don't know. Another thing with this game, you have a fuck ton of grenades, a shit ton of grenades, and you have a small ass inventory too. All the grenades you could ever want. One type of ammo. Good. There's no universal grenade that just does whatever the fuck you want. No. You have 50 grenades and then one type of ammo. That's super. Like your flamethrower and your pistol, they use the same ammunition. Your pistol and your rocket launcher, same ammo. That makes complete sense to me. And then NG Resonance, she, like, you can tell her stuff throughout the game, like give her data because lonely people just speak to her and tell her all this shit, and she's just this surveillance and information collecting software. It's kind of great. A little fucked up and dark, but like it's cool. So I did. I'm a good boy. I did tell her about shit that was going on in the back rooms. I went out into Lower Seattle. There's a little thing with the Inclinator. It was a very short mission. And then there was Sophia Sack, who has like a jet impounded. She's like a girl boss, crime boss thing. I didn't feel like I had enough ammo to take on her whole crew, so I ended up paying Sid Black's fine to get his jet. Honestly, the amount of money you have to pay, it's like nothing. So it's sort of another quest for me where it's like if I had to pay like 1,000 credits to get Sid Black's jet out of there, that would have had like impact, would have had weight. Like, I don't know, is this worth it? The apartments, there's this bitch who's like has a greasel. She also is like feeding cats to the greasel. So I killed her. I killed her little monster and I saved those cats. I'm a decent guy. In the Order Church, you just get more like dialogue with Lin Mei Chen. You hear Her Holiness talk, blah, blah, blah. It's a very small, gray little building with a couple of robed Order people here. I'm going to make a comparison later on to another religious building that's in this game and why I think maybe our church is not very impressive here compared to something later on. But yeah, it's just a dark gray little building. Oh, so you do have some more choices in this game. Like, hey, do you want to help out the Order? Do you want to help out the WTO? Do you want Sid Black, who's this British kind of cocky, kind of a douchebag guy to be your pilot, or Ava Johnson, who is a pilot being held by the WTO. And one of our former classmates, Clara Sparks, she is with the WTO. Billy is with the Order. And then Leo is working for the Omar. Got a message when I went back to the club that the Omar say I did something hostile, and then there's just a dead Omar guy in the VIP lounge. I think because I reported shit to the WTO, guards came back and they were arresting the club manager, and then I guess they killed the Omar guy. So now the Omar's pissed at me, whatever. But your choice of pilot doesn't really do that much overall. When you have a mission, Sid Black will drop you off on one place on the map, and Ava Johnson will drop you off on another place on the map. But the maps are so small that it doesn't make that much of an impact. But I end up hiring Sid Black, and then he's taking us to Mako Ballistics, which is within Seattle. Mako certainly looks and feels a lot better. The level is still small as shit. I ran into several problems going through this level, just running out of ammo, a lot. I kind of like to go around and just kill a lot of enemies. I just like to clear everything, and that was definitely a struggle earlier on. And both sides will talk to you and give you quests, and they both want us here, and one of them wants us to kill the guy making the Mako guns. The other one doesn't want us to kill the guy making the Mako guns. Apparently the group called the Templars is building an army of mag rail guns, and these are really powerful guns. And I ended up killing the guy, and there's an alien specimen here, and that's Mako. It's hallways, small court, something not great, but definitely a better impression than Seattle. And then we're on to Cairo. And Cairo is our second hub world. With arcology, you have the air terminals, you have the little Templars building, you have a Tarsus Academy, there's the office suites, there's a little coffee shop. I think that's it for them. There's a little jail too, and then you have the Order Mosque. And then outside you have the Nassif greenhouse, you have the Medina apartments, and I think that's mostly it for Cairo. It's okay. I don't think it's as impressive as Hong Kong or Hell's Kitchen, but it is the only level that you get to revisit twice, so that's something. The Templars have a little booth set up in arcology, kind of like a booth at a mall where you would just greet people and try to get them to buy your product. There's no one around. There's no action. There's no NPCs around. There's not a line of people trying to talk. The Templars, it feels like shit. And I don't think I mentioned this for Seattle, but there are these two rival coffee chains, Pequods and Queequegs. Anyways, they have a rivalry. You can do missions for them to attack or harm the other guy's business. And this persists over in Cairo. It's not very funny or interesting, but it happens multiple levels. And then we have the Order Mosque. And the Order has just kind of magically somehow enveloped all religions into the world into one religion. And the mosque here is massive. It's beautiful. It's bright. It's full of just nice people that are struggling in the world, and you want to care about them. It's very decorated. All of it. It's a nice, big, good-looking building. It looks a lot better than a lot of other stuff in this game. We don't have too many comparisons we can make to it, but we did have a church in the first level, Seattle, and that is small, it's dark, it's gray, it's drab. To me, this is very intentional, and we have one more church later on that we'll talk about for a comparison, but the mosque looks really, really good in comparison to the two churches that we see. And I think since this game came out in 2003, and it's about terrorism, it's a invisible war, you could say, but we kind of defeat the title Invisible War in our intro cutscene because the war's not fucking invisible. He detonated a massive bomb in Chicago and killed millions of people. That's not invisible, right? But 9/11 is still fresh. There's people that are sick in the bottom of the mosque because there's some nanite thing plaguing Cairo. So a lot of people wear rebreathers on the streets of Cairo. And there's this girl down there that's sick, and she wants to go to the Tarsus Academy because they breathe good air up in arcology. Meet Billy and Salmon. Salmon says universal wage slavery, and he's just kind of based and cool.
It's a spiritual movement.
A spiritual movement about reconstituting the self, improving the self, finding balance with the world. Her Holiness knows that no balance is possible if the old world returns. Global capital, teratogenic science, universal wage slavery.
Leo is with the Omar again. They ask us get information about some raid that's going to happen. I do not tell Leo the correct information about the raid because fuck these freaks. Times multi-tools will not stack. They will create two separate piles and will not join together. It's a little annoying, especially because our inventory is so cramped. But yeah, that was frustrating. A lot of the bio mods overall just feel kind of redundant. There are two bio mods that deal with fall damage. There are two bio mods that deal with healing. One is a black market one is just regular regeneration. You only have 5 slots for bio mods and then 3 options per those slots. One of those 3 options is the black market bio mod. Overlapping or just not very useful abilities. Compare to the first game with all your skills and then all your augmentations. Yes, not all of the augmentations were good, and the aqua lung and the swimming skill, those absolutely overlapped. There are a few other examples of some overlap, but most of them felt fresh and good, and depending on the playstyle that you wanted, it was useful, right? There were even definitely rooms where you wanted to have the radiation protection augmentation because ooh, there's some really good loot right there, but I'm going to take a shit ton of damage and radiation. Dang, if only I had the radiation augmentation, that'd be really helpful, right? It never felt too much of a struggle to just get around with whatever build you had in Invisible War. WTO wants you to blow up these Arabs' greenhouse because they're feeding people without a permit, and the Order doesn't want you to blow up this greenhouse. Anyway, some bastard, some monster destroyed this greenhouse so all these hungry Arabs don't have enough to eat. I don't know who did it, but that's terrible. And the Order sends 2 hitmen to kill you. They're not hard to kill, but they send 2 hitmen after you, and you put them down. It's we're really mad at you, but we're still going to keep giving you missions. And I'm what the fuck? Why would I ever work for you? You just tried to murder me. Holy shit. Yeah, this game's not great with that. To get into the Tarsus Academy, you hear all this stuff about go through the vents, go through the vents. If you go through the vents, you can get into Tarsus Academy. From what I can tell, unless I'm a complete retard, you have the Tarsus Academy, and then you have vents off to the left. If you go through those vents, you enter some rooms. If you go straight, you can get to the vent near the Templar booth, and when you're at the Templar booth, you overhear the conversation for that one quest. And then the other vents will take you up, and then through arcology, right? You can drop down at some parts in arcology and be near the little jail cell. There's no way to go from the vents outside Tarsus Academy to the inside of Tarsus Academy, from what I can tell. If I missed it, I'm very fucking sorry. But that was incredibly frustrating for me to deal with because I just could not figure that out. It turns out that you need to go to the apartments and talk to Layla Nassif's, I think it's uncle or husband, father, whatever. And if you talk to him, he'll give you a code to get into the Tarsus Academy because you cannot hack your way into Tarsus Academy. There is no other way to enter except for speaking with him first. Isn't that fun? Isn't that just such a great freedom of choice that you have to talk to this NPC to enter this area or you're fucked? And in the office suites, Clara is here and you can go in guns blazing with her. I decided to let her run in first and I just watched her get killed. I don't fucking care. I talked about before, but the pacing with characters was definitely off. And I'll talk more about Anna and Gunther and the other guys later on. But while not all of them were the deepest, most fleshed out characters, they worked. And I definitely cared about them a lot more in Deus Ex 1 than here. I got 1 5-minute conversation with them at the start of Tarsus Academy in Seattle. And then this is me seeing them again. It's not fleshed out nearly enough, and I just don't give a shit about them. We meet Layla Nassif. She says that we are the 3rd Denton prototype. This isn't a fucking shock. Our name is Alex D, okay? There's a fucking tube in Deus Ex called Alex Denton. This isn't a goddamn shock. She also says that Tracer Tong is alive. Apparently he can contact JC, and we need to do this. And we are going to go to Germany so then we can teleport to JC. I end up killing Nassif here. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm sure there's some little dialogue with her later on if she survives. I don't care. In my original playthrough, I ended up skipping the academy and then playing and finishing the entire game before coming back to the academy. I'm going to talk about the academy now because this makes the most sense to do it here. Forgot to explore the apartments my first time playing. There's just some Templars in some apartments. You can kill these guys. That's about it. And then you can go to the Nassif apartment. If you blew up the greenhouse first, he will not give you the code to the Tarsus Academy. So it's even more railroaded into how to get into Tarsus Academy. I went to an earlier save where I had not blown up the greenhouse. Oh, there's also this mission where you can like purify the air for the people so they can like breathe cleanly. I guess I must have forgotten to do that. And someone blew up that greenhouse too. Who could have done this? But Nassif says that his daughter is missing at the Tarsus Academy, and he gives us code to get into Tarsus. So we go back all the way up to Tarsus. We enter. There are some missing students. Gar gives us a quest because like there's 2 greasels who have gotten loose in a classroom. We killed the 2 greasels. And there's a couple classrooms where you can talk to some of the kids. And the kids like mention 3 or 4 times, like, hey, the vents, there's some missing students. Have you heard about the vents? The vents. Turns out, if you go through the vents, you'll find some missing students. You find the Nassif girl and her friend. They're hiding in the vents. The vents are so close to the classroom. It's like 10, 15 seconds from the classroom. You're in like the little hideout room, and it's way too easy to find the kids. This doesn't work for me. This really, really doesn't work for me. But the kids are there. They are in a room with beer and like children, beer. I have to tell a responsible adult. So I went to a good, trustworthy man like the headmaster, and I told him where these kids are so he could handle the situation. I did not do that because the kids say that the headmaster is actually a Templar agent and he's here to do bad things to kids. The girls make it sound like there's this epic quest to go get the headmaster's secret lair and crawling through this area. It is not epic. It's like 2 fucking spider bots and some very small damage from some steam vents. You find the guy's room. He has like a Templar flag. There's an extra little hidden room with some Templar guys in there. You can kill them. And then you go upstairs. You confront the guy. He says he wants to terminate augmented kids or kids that are like good for augmentation. Because they believe in purity, they reject all augmentation. I like the Templars, as you can tell from the video. You are not allowed to side with Archer, the headmaster. This is a great RPG. You're not allowed to tell him where the kids are. You're not allowed to go along with his plans. You can side with the WTO. You can side with the Order. You cannot side with the Templars here. In Fallout 3, and I think also in New Vegas, I think you could like sell people into slavery. I'm pretty sure that was a thing in like Fallout 3. And then in New Vegas, I think you could like trade your companions to like cannibals in the New Vegas Strip. And it's like an evil, fucked up thing. And you probably wouldn't do it, but you could do it, right? You could do that if you chose to. That's something you could do. But in here, you don't get the option. And now I'm going to rush into the Templars' defense. So, the Templars, what we know about them so far, they're hateful, awful bigots. They are child killers. They are literally planning to kill children, right? They are cartoonishly bad. There are no reasonable people here to argue that perhaps putting biomods in children could be bad or dangerous. These kids are maybe 10 years old, perhaps younger, and they're going to have biomods put in them to permanently alter their bodies. There's no people that have biomodded themselves so much that they're monsters, that they're mutilated from these procedures, or they're addicted to just getting more and more biomods. Like we have people today that are addicted to cosmetic surgery that's unnecessary and just kind of fucks them up and turns them into inhuman monsters. Nothing like that in this world. There's no argument that kids can't vote or drive or drink, but yes, they can have biomods put into them. Like, are there parents that feel pressured to do this to their kids since other parents are doing it to their kids and their kids are smarter and they're getting ahead and they're getting into the good colleges and they're going to get the good jobs. And if your kid doesn't have a supercomputer put into their brain from a very young age, they're going to fall behind and have no opportunities. Like normal children just can't keep up. And perhaps jobs discriminate against you if you don't have any biomods in you. Like there's a lot of pressure to get these biomods, and people just don't want to do this to themselves or their children. Like maybe in this fucked up world, because the WTO is running things and they really control all finance, perhaps like you don't even technically own your biomods and you just rent them for the rest of your life. You're a perpetual consumer, and the Templars are against this because they think it's evil, and this is just kind of a form of slavery. Like you're essentially a debt slave to these massive pharmaceutical companies. That's a fine argument. I don't know, man, but like the idea of just like designing your child to be this like perfect little thing with these biomods seems like really fucked up and kind of dystopic, but nothing like that is ever brought up in this game, right? That's never really a question that maybe biomods are bad for us. I mean, there's no nuanced take on it. In the first game, you had like the first generation of augmented people, like Gunther and Anna. They're fucked up looking. They don't belong in society. They will never fit into society. I think it's also like Shay in the Underworld Tavern, and even like Walton Simmons and you, like around the eyes, you definitely look off human. You know, you mostly blend into society, but not fully. And there's like a give and take, right? Like Gunther is incredibly strong and powerful, but he never blends into society, right? Because of these augmentations. But in this game, it's just the biomods are just magic, right? They're just magic. They're just perfect magic. And you can totally blend into society and also be really smart and really strong and really powerful. But there's something there about designing your children. Like Gattaca. Gattaca is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's great. You should watch it if you haven't seen it. But that's about like gene editing children. And there's this scene where there's this beautiful piano performance, and it has Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. And at the end of the performance, the pianist throws one of his gloves into the crowd. Ethan Hawke catches it. The glove has 6 fingers. A human with 5 fingers cannot play the music that he just played. And it was very beautiful music. But there's this horrible realization that this man's parents planned before he was born that he was going to be a great pianist. They decided what his function was going to be in life because he has these extra fingers. If he chose not to be a pianist, right, after he was born, he's just going to be this freak with 6 fingers, right? There's an argument there where it's like, well, he makes beautiful music. Was he really free to pick another path, right? Because he's kind of this designed being. So our third mission, we are in Trier. When we get here, Her Holiness of the Order Church has been kidnapped. Oh, and Chad Dumier is here. There's supposed to be some conference where the Order and the WTO were supposed to like come together and like reconcile their differences. This has been thwarted. Little gripe, but it's like constantly whenever enemies do drop ammo, it's never a lot of ammo. I would usually have to move their bodies around to pick up the ammo clips. It was really annoying. This level is not very big like Paris. Paris is fucking massive compared to here. And guess what? Going into like the bakery or the video store or a lot of little places did not require a separate loading screen. You need a loading screen for everything here. For every little area, you have to have a fucking loading screen. But yeah, Trier is not huge. We're in Germany. There's a bar, and then, oh, this is kind of weird. I'll show this. But the Omar are like setting up shop upstairs of this bar. And in that room, it's like a little creepy. They don't really do creepiness in this game. But like there's this weird silhouette of a woman in the corner. That was kind of interesting. It was just like a little visual trick. And then in this bar, we find Tracer Tong and we talk to him in the bar. And then Tracer tells us that we have to meet JC in Antarctica. That's where he's gone. That when he tried to merge with the Helios AI, it didn't work. And he's been kind of in stasis, wounded for these past 20 years. Paul Denton has been captured. He's missing. And so he wants us to do that. And if you remember from the last game, I liked Tong. I liked his ending. That for me, that was the most hopeful ending. Governments that are small enough to be comprehensible to their people, that sounded very appealing to me. Nationalism, ethnic ties, that type of thing. But in here, Tong is fully behind supporting JC and the Helios AI and merging them so then JC can be leader of the world. And this is a massive change from wanting small governments that people can comprehend to go to JC should be God Emperor of the world. And we're told that there was a mini collapse, like basically all three endings from the original game all canonically happened. We're supposed to believe that, but it does not feel like the world went to shit in these last 20 years. Like, things are so much cleaner now compared to the first game. Everything's so much better. Why the huge change in Tong's personality? I'm fine with the character changing their opinions, their values, but I didn't really get a satisfying reason for this. He says that he witnessed anarchy and destruction. I don't see any remnants of this destruction, this anarchy. It's so nice and clean. Like in game one, like you had the free clinic, you had vets talking about their experiences, you had addicts, you had shanty towns, you had like this kind of depression and ugliness, and it really felt like the world was on the brink of collapse, right? It was shitty, like Battery Park, going through that shanty town down the subway. I felt something for these people. Like, it definitely built an atmosphere, and all Tong says, like, I saw anarchy and destruction. And I'm like, where? Like, they rebuilt everything, and it's hard for me to believe that there was a collapse. One, that's fine, I can believe that. But two, they like basically patched it all up within these 20 years. Like, I don't know. I don't buy it. No one really around to talk about it, like how bad things were in like the 20 years from the last game into now. So that hurt me too. I have my biomod screen here, but you will notice I have maxed out all 5 of my biomod slots, and I'm not even halfway finished with the game. There's 6 levels, and I'm not even finished with the 3rd level yet, and I am full of biomods. Biomods have no value anymore, really. I have done all of them. This is ridiculous. This is just such an overabundance of resources and rewards. It's really bad. They have no value compared to the first game. There's more side quests with these coffee shops, and it turns out the coffee shops are owned by one company. And you do this small side quest where you enter the police station, you like hack into the evidence room, and then you find a data pad. Oh yeah, both companies are owned by one really big company. How hasn't this come out by now? This is so silly. Like, seriously, is this happening? Apparently this is illegal in this world, right? You're not allowed to have that big of a monopoly, apparently. And nobody knew about this. Nobody knew about this. It's this over-the-top allegory. As we find out very soon, the WTO and the Order are both a part of the Illuminati. We have Chad Dumier from the first game, and also Nicolette Duclair from the first game as well. So, yeah, they are the Illuminati, and it's the illusion of choice. Do you get it? Do you get it? And like these coffee shops, it's the illusion of choice. Wow, incredible. Whoa, man, that's really deep. It's simple, it's boring, it's not impressive. Like, finding the evidence for this is like the Fallout 4 ghoul boy, like, locked in the fucking fridge. That's what it's like. Like, this is a horrible quest. It doesn't fucking work. When people say that this is actually an okay to decent game, I'm like, what? Like, how did I find this groundbreaking secret by, like, entering the evidence room of this small police station? Like, if I had to break in this high security corporate place and then I hacked into a computer and I had to deal with a bunch of guards or sneak around, that would make sense. But just random evidence locker, and then here's this massive secret that no one else in the world knows but me. I don't buy it. I don't believe you. So we have to go to the Black Gate ruins. While we're there, we're going to find Her Holiness. Tong has a lab here. You can get 3 biomods in one go. You can fully upgrade an entire biomod for just 3 multi-tools. And multi-tools are super common in this game. Like, there were times in the original game where, like, I would be low on lockpicks or multi-tools, and I would skip over trying to lockpick something because I'm like, it's probably not worth it. I gotta save my shit for, like, an important door later on or something like that. But here, like, even though I was fully maxed out, I then have 3 additional biomods. So it's like, for what? I guess if I want to swap a biomod out, it's fine, but, like, holy shit. Because there's technically 6, but your first slot is taken up by the like night vision. In the first game, I used the night vision quite a bit because it was just so dark. In this game, I almost never had to use that night vision. There's one level where I kind of had to use that night vision. Otherwise, it was completely unnecessary. What a waste by not giving us something useful in that slot. Oh, I dropped from the ceiling into this big ass weird room. That was the portal room. So yeah, we go into these holding rooms. Nicola Duclair is Her Holiness. This is so fucking gay. It's two faces of the Illuminati, the WTO, and the Order. Based. I really like this game from 2003, because games weren't woke back then. So we have Chad and Nicolette Duclair, our blonde white woman, and our black guy. That's just super cool. Luminon, the guy who talked about like wage slavery, he is the head of the Templars. That's cool. We find a gray down there, like an alien from the first game. They can talk. It says that Billy is a clone of JC like us. There's this Illuminati super soldier, and like the Blackgate level felt like close to a level, but not quite there. Like, it had some things going for it, but just, yeah, it's just all these levels are really just basically too small to have that much of an impact on you. If you talk to NG Resonance in the bar here and you tell her about the Illuminati, she is no longer friendly. I'll play that.
It's of the Illuminati.
Don't tell me you're one of those paranoid secret society types.
I'm telling the truth.
I can't believe you let someone lead you on like this. Who was it? I'll straighten them out for you.
I found out on my own.
You're scaring me, Alex. Be careful what you go around telling people. You might get yourself in trouble.
I did like that. I thought that was nice because she's like working for the Illuminati. The Templar guys, they shoot people while they shout purity. They call you an abomination. That's cool, right? We have our second church here. We were at the mosque before. There are sick people there, decent, hardworking people. And now we have our second church. The church is full of evil cultists. It's people trying to kill you. It's boarded up. It's ugly. Some of the windows are broken. It's not a lit up place of worship and respect. There's no people to help here. There's just people to kill. For me, this is very, very intentional by the creative staff. You don't just make a mosque and make it really beautiful, and then you also create a church and make the church very ugly and drab and full of people trying to kill you, right? You don't do that unintentionally. Billy has already gone through the portal. She is going to kill JC. Only people that have like JC's DNA, like Paul, JC, you, because you're a clone, and Billy can go through. Oh yeah, Tong also called JC humanity's only sincere leader. And it's like, I don't know, I could believe his change of heart, but yeah, I just need more time, man. This doesn't work for me.
She has signed her soul over to the Luddites, the haters of technology. Protect JC, or she could plunge the world into another dark age. Trust me, I was like her 20 years ago, and I still share some of the blame for triggering the collapse. Exactly. JC will tell you more. Please, don't delay. Every passing minute brings your friend Billy one step closer to murdering the only sincere leader humanity has ever had.
The mission is to go to Antarctica, where JC is, and then revive him. And then we have, like, the remaining code, like nanite code, that Apostle Core and Layla Nassif and the Tarsus people have been working on for these 20 years that will heal JC, and then he can like merge with the Helios AI and become like the god being that he was supposed to be. And I want to mention this here, like Billy, Leo, Clara really don't have a lot of impact for me, and like not every character was super deep in the first game, but like you got some personality of like Jamie, Alex, not so much. With Tracer, you definitely did. Like, I did enjoy his little banter when you were in Paris. He's like, Paris, have a sip of wine for me, JC. Like, that's nice. It's a little like character building shit, right? It's good. It's not like overdone, but here we really don't get anything from our classmates, right? Quote unquote, people that we knew for 5 minutes at most. And like Anna and Gunther, you get to meet them on several missions and do shit with them. You also just find them around the UNATCO base after missions, and they're just having these casual, good, like it's silly conversations, like the soda machine thing with Gunther and Anna, but it's this one-off conversation. And compared to the coffee shit, which happens like in almost every fucking level, and it's not funny ever, it felt like a lot more fleshed out. Like the WTO chick, I think you just hear her talk to you, and then you run into her in like that holding cell because she was with Nicola Duclair like once. Maybe she appears more later on. With Lin Che Men, I think you meet her in person like once or twice. And then, yeah, because you can tell her that it's all a sham, that the order's bullshit, and then she freaks out. She also reveals that she's Maggie Chow's daughter, one of the Triad leaders' daughter as well, which doesn't mean anything. It's just like, hey, remember the first game? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Now we're in Antarctica, level 4. The Greys are here. They are just transgenics. They are not like aliens. Their DNA that was like designed to survive in like bad environments, and they kind of became their own thing, but they're not aliens. They call the Templars the hateful ones, so you know we're really not supposed to like the Templars. I do like that there are penguins just walking around. They're kind of cute and fun, but we have the big portal thing. The Templars are here, and then we have a VersaLife base that's been abandoned. I decided to do the VersaLife base first before like tackling JC and the main stuff. The music and the intense atmosphere is good here. It's almost a horror level. It's a bit too short for it, but it's dark. The music's good. You have these mutant creatures, the Greasels, the Caracans, and there's some human enemies too. But I think this was a pretty good level. I'd say Antarctica overall is like definitely above the other stuff. Another thing where the game definitely wants you to hate the Templars and will not allow a nuanced take on them. You find a Templar locked in a jail cell that sounds less radical than the others. You can free him, and then he thanks you. And then when he realizes that you're biomodded, he pulls out a gun and tries to kill you. The message here is quite obvious. Yes, all Templars are evil. That's our message. There's never a good Templar that we can find. There's good WTO, there's good Order. There are no good Templars.
We have our differences. Maybe I care a little more about some things, purity of the soul and all that, but that doesn't mean we can't get along.
Think you can find your way out?
I got myself in here, didn't I?
Good luck.
Yeah, I can find my way out, but hey, look at me again. I was right, wasn't I? You're modified. You're a stinking defiler.
Come here! To battle! No more hiding!
Then you take out some Order guys. They're kind of a bitch in their power armor. Like, it takes like 4 or 5 headshots with a sniper rifle to kill them that way. So they kind of suck. But you enter JC's sanctuary. It's weird. He's in stasis. And then you have to enter through these like dream sequences that he's having. Ava Johnson, the other pilot I never bothered to get. She is an AI. I never even bothered to rescue her. I just went with Sid Black. But like, I think you would have had to kill a shit ton of WTO officers to free Ava Johnson instead of WTO just letting Ava join you and get you out of there. Instead, they were going to like force you to kill a bunch of people, which makes so much sense. So you're traveling through some memories that JC has. Like you go to like Maggie Chow's apartment. Oh, small thing, but the Dragon Tooth sword in this game it's a katana. It's a fucking katana. These are not the same swords. I know that maybe seems small and nitpicky, but I don't know, that feels shitty to me. So you enter through a level. Like, you go through a little memory, there's, like, a gray you can talk to, and then you exit out, and then you're in, like, this weird structure thing, where it's, like, because JC, if you didn't know, for, like, the Superman comparison, he's in his Fortress of Solitude in the ice. Wow, amazing. The Ubermensch. I get it. But in between these little memory levels, you have, like, enemies down below, like Greasels and Caracans, and if you kill them, then you can loot stuff down there. So I would do that in between all the levels. There's this one part where you have like a biomod, and then there's some electricity going on, and there's supposed to be some cost. some risk for you to reach the biomod. You would like take a lot of damage. I was able to grab the biomod without taking a single point of damage, and I didn't like glitch anything or cheat anything. I was just able to walk by and not get shocked. That sucks so fucking much, dude. That's so gay. In the first game, it would be like a radioactive room and you would take a fuck ton of damage. You're like, is this loot worth it? There's no question here. It's just, here's a free biomod. Here's some electricity that can't fucking hurt you. So you had like Maggie Chow's place, Manderley's office, the plane, and then like the cloning room where JC was grown, and also you. So when you get to the cloning area from Area 51, you have Billy Adams show up. Is Billy not already in the sanctuary? Could she not have killed JC at any time? Why was she waiting? I think she's already inside by the time we entered the sanctuary. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I remember. She's already inside and she's just somewhere else. Maybe she's not, but I have no idea why she didn't just immediately kill JC. But whatever. There is this like little boss fight that really sucks. It's like, hey, do you want to fight and knock Billy unconscious, or do you want to fight and kill her? And I said unconscious, but I definitely killed her with some rockets. She still showed up later in the game because I guess I said I wanted to knock her out unconsciously. But that was her boss fight. It was very shitty and quick. And the little trip down memory lane with JC also didn't feel very good. It just felt like a boring little series of levels like, hey, remember this good mission? Remember this good mission? Remember this good mission? We don't have that here. Like, I don't care about Billy. Like, if I had spent more time with Billy, like not 5 minutes before she just like annihilated my worldview, then maybe I would have really given a shit. And actually, no, that's wrong. She did not annihilate my worldview. I wasn't grounded anywhere. This happened so fast in the beginning of the game that I'm like, I have no sense of what my reality is. So there's no twist you can do because I don't know up from down, right? Not when you just start. So we heal JC. He talks about wanting a post-human civilization. This will be forced on everyone on the planet. It's kind of... maybe a little communism. Is this fair to everyone? He wants to be fair to everyone. There's 10 billion people, true equality. This is kind of nuts to me. Like, yes, there are differences between people. Yes, not everyone is equal. Yes, life isn't fair. But JC wants to just enforce this on everyone so we're like all connected to him and he will be like this benevolent God. So he says. The whole game I was missing a rocket launcher. You finally get rocket launchers in Antarctica. Don't worry, they feel like crap. They don't do a lot of damage. Salmon tells us that he destroyed Chicago, which you probably suspected for a while. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't have a nanite bomb for Seattle. Whatever, but there you go. We are back to Cairo. Cairo is the only hub that we go back to twice. And the Templars have taken over. We are looking for Paul Denton because JC wants Paul. Paul is in Cairo. The Templars have him. We run into Leo. Leo has been fucked up. He's wearing like an Omar suit, and they want to alter him and like have him join the Omar hive mind because they're like really augmented people. Apparently, they're all part of a hive mind. That's super. And I did want to help Leo. I did pay for him to like get out of Cairo. And it's not that I had like a lot of great memories or like missions I did with Leo. I just wanted to see what would happen. I had a shit ton of money, so it's like, why not? But that could have been so much more effective if Leo was like a guy you really got to know. So before, you would have like an elevator that would get you to the archaeology building and the air terminal, and also you could go through the mosque up to archaeology. However, in this mission, that is not an option. The elevator up is destroyed, so you have to go through the mosque up to archaeology. You are very limited in your movement here for this level. Apparently, Cairo is still shit because some guy blew up all those Arabs' food and didn't fix their air, so they're still like breathing and dying. Oh well. So we're back in the mosque, right? But White Pill, now people are trying to kill you in the mosque. Huh? What do you think of that? Yes, true. But we saw the mosque before when it was good. The church was never good. The church was never full of like nice people that you wanted to help, right? The mosque was. And now we get to rescue these nice people that are huddled in the basement of the mosque and rescue them. We did not get to rescue any people in the church. We only got to kill people in the church, okay? Maybe that seems small, and I keep bringing this point up, but it's there. Just some biases with the devs. One of the guys caught on fire in the mosque. I don't know what I did. I think the robot set him on fire. And there's a big robot in the center of the room. And if you destroy the robot because it's a quest, you can rescue the people that are trapped below. Somehow, I forgot to destroy the robot and save the people. The greenhouse is locked down. You can't enter that. A lot of places are just kind of locked down during this mission. There's no Tarsus Academy. There's no corporate suites you can explore. Just some things I was thinking of that I put in my notes around this time. It didn't really feel like there was a conflict brewing. Like, wouldn't it have been cool to have a city divided into various sections, like each is controlled by a different faction, and you get to see how their ideologies affect the lives of daily people? Like the Omar engage in human trafficking and unethical experiments, the WTO and their center of control, the Order, and then maybe the Templars later on. That would have been something you could have walked around and interacted with. And then you could have maybe squad missions with your companions from school and hey, Clara, let's go do some WTO missions. Or hey, Leo. That would have done something, right? That would have been better. I would have liked that more. So you can work with the Templars. You get to meet the real NG Resonance. She's in a hangar. She was great. She was so happy to meet me. She ended up screaming. Typical. Happens to me a lot. You get some cool Templars to help. They want your blood. Everyone kind of wants you because they're going to try to take JC and the Helios AI and use it to further their own end. The Templars, the Illuminati, and JC himself, you could join him. Paul is locked into a box. The Illuminati sends some guys after you, but the Templars fucking wreck them. They're in their power armor and just stomping shit. It was cool. They talked about getting my biomods removed because they don't like biomods, right? They talked about a doctor able to do that, but I didn't see an option here. I'll speak about this later on. There were some personal effects of Paul Denton locked away in a box, but if you go for it, they shoot you, so don't go for it. And then I took out some WTO guards that were harassing my girl NG Resonance. I secured her for the Templars. I made sure she was safe. So yeah, just back to protecting her. And then we are on to our final mission. We are back to Liberty Island, and this is a travesty. This is so bad compared to the first game. Oh my god, you have the island divided up into two parts. JC has turned the ocean around Liberty Island into ice, just so they didn't have to load in a lot of shit. It is so small. It is so fucking small compared to the first game. There's just nothing. There's just almost nothing going on. In this version, you can enter a room at the statue and JC is in there with the Helios upload thing. You have UNATCO headquarters and you can go down in there. There's not much down there. It's very bare bones and mostly destroyed. You have the Templars have a little building. The Illuminati has a building. Tracer Tong's off somewhere. That's basically it. It's divided into the east and the west. But in the first game, you had the docks you spawned in on. Docks over there. Those docks over there, they had a ship that was sunk, and if you swam down, you could get some loot. You could talk to some. It's that one bum. I think his name's Harvey, maybe. And he was actually a spy and an agent, and he would give you information if you paid him. You could climb on storage boxes to reach the upper part of the statue. You could go down below to rescue Gunther because Gunther was at the bottom. I think there's some hostages too. There was bots running around, UNATCO guys, just a lot of little Easter eggs and things to find and to explore. Just compare that map to this map that we have right now, and even just getting up through the statue was cool. It was interesting. There's none of that here. There's absolutely none of that here. It's so bare bones. It kind of says everything you need to say about this game compared to the first. I was genuinely surprised I could enter the UNATCO base despite it being completely bombed in. So everyone kind of contacts you and is willing to work with you. It doesn't matter that I sided with the Templars. You can still pick the Illuminati or pick JC or go with the Templars, or Leo offers you his own ending, which is go around and kill all the leaders. I decided I was going to go do the Templar ending first, So you have to go to UNATCO. Billy Adams was here and alive. I started to go down the stairs and she was following me, and then I went back up. She followed me back up the stairs. She would no longer go down. I guess I broke her pathing. There was a note that like Gunther had a skull gun here. I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it was there. I did get a weird ending with a toilet, and if you grab a flag and you go into Manderley's office and you interact with the toilet, you get this weird ending. You're in the nightclub. There are penguins on fire. I used some biomods to jump up to get an area. There's nothing there. It's just characters dancing. There's some logs floating around from the developers. These aren't really funny. They're just kind of like Reddit humor. So it was a little Easter egg, whatever. So I went around the whole island, talked to everyone while I could before like making a choice. When I went to Tong, because even though JC said we could definitely still be friends, when I went to Tong was instantly hostile to me. Don't know what the fuck I did. Speaking about the endings, yes, in the last level of the first game, you got to pick through several different options, just like here. Is this good or bad? I think the endings were novel in the first game and not just reheated choices. I was also more invested too in like the plot and the characters. So all the endings feel bad here. Like there's no perhaps good ending like Tong offered in the first game. Like first game, we had Helios, Illuminati, Tong. In this game, we have Helios, Illuminati, Leo, let's kill everyone, and then the Templars. Two of the endings are the same, right, as the first game. So yes, the ending does feel worse here. I can understand some animosity about just getting to the last level, and then you can pick whatever ending you want. But I still feel like it was done better in the first game. You're in UNATCO. You were supposed to like transmit some stuff from the Aquinas hub to either JC Denton or to the Templars or to the Illuminati. And this is the choice that picks your ending for you. When you do that, you then also kill Paul Denton, and then you get into a boss fight with JC. It's a little gay and a little disappointing. I just shot him in the head with a sniper rifle, and he went down very easily. And then the room full of his guys, like the Greys, some turrets and all that, isn't hard to kill. And then once you press like the thing to activate the Helios AI, JC respawns and you have to kill him again. It sucks. I just turned on like my missile deflection thing, and I just waited, and he just killed himself by shooting rockets at me. That was it. That was the boss fight. You know how in like the first game, the idea of the ending was you can't shoot ideas and all that? Like you can't kill Bob Page. It's not a boss fight. And like I agree with that. That's better than just like you fighting augmented Bob Page. Well, here we do get to fight and kill JC, and it doesn't feel good. So I'm just going to play all the clips for the endings.
Citizens, paladins, we have won! Allow me this allegory. Our forebears would say that we have at last reached the Delectable Mountains. Yes, well, we have conquered these mountains, and soon not one hill will have a name other than Clear. We have burned the land clean. What cells of disease remain are few in number and short on time. But friends, citizens, I tell you today that we have a new enemy. The enemy's name is Error, and it stands tall against the horizon. This new enemy is all too human. But we will act now, before these traitors spread their disease to other susceptible minds.
With our Templar ending, we have a hanged gray. It's dark. There are torches. It feels like we've gone back centuries in time, right? Maybe even thousands of years. We have the corpse of a hanged man. We are destroying Error itself. Whose corpse is it? Is it our corpse? I don't know. The quote at the end implies that this is a worse end. Is the corpse yours? From what I can tell, there was never a way in the game to actually get rid of your biomods. This is something that easily could have been added to the game. If you really wanted to roleplay, this easily could have been added. Like, hey, go to this doctor that the Templars know. Pay 2,000 credits. Great, you lose your biomods, but now the Templars like you because you're not augmented. The game doesn't even bother to give you this option. It's stupid. Because they even mention that doctors can do this procedure, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Apostle Core ending. When I spawned into this level, JC said, hey man, we're all good. Just rescue my brother Paul, give me the Aquinas code, and we'll be friends. He tried to murder me when I entered the statue. He tried to fucking kill me. Tong was friendly now, so that was nice. I helped Tong fix some bots. But when I went to the statue, the Greys were still very hostile to me. It seems like a bit of a buggy mess. If I would shoot back at the Greys who were trying to kill me, then Tong would become hostile. If JC would come outside, then Tong immediately turns on me, who's just my ally, and now is trying to kill me. So I had to cheese it, and as JC is trying to murder me, I'm healing as much as I can. I press the Helios button. You have to wait a couple seconds for it to take root, so I'm like chugging all my sodas and eating my bread and all my soy food to stay alive. But the ending plays.
Helios will speak. Year of our Union, 125. Our consensus remains clear. Yes, we will prolong this second century of peace. Economic automation is complete. Our research will now encompass other frontiers. Yes, this is the consensus we have created. Our unity will soon be absolute. The remaining boundaries are vanishing. Yes, share your mind with everyone. Open yourself. Your needs are the needs of all. Let us understand and be transformed. Yes, transform each other and transform yourselves. The only frontier that has ever existed is the self. Helios has spoken.
Your mind is shared with everyone, like all of your experiences and thoughts and emotions belong to everyone. It feels evil, like you're no longer human. I'll speak more of the endings in a little bit. The Renegade ending, you go around and kill everyone. JC respawns because of Helios, because I guess he just gets infinite lives. The game ends with the Omar offering trade deals as the Illuminati was shooting at me, fitting with the cutscene. I guess Leo was already a part of their hive mind, and that's why he said, hey, we should go around killing the leaders, and he had already been like fully corrupted. Or maybe he was just naive and he fell into what they wanted him to do.
After the Great Collapse, only the mighty survived. 2 centuries of war saw the rise and fall of many empires. It was the age of heroes, the battle-fired crucible of all subsequent history. In the end, the Earth was no longer green. Nothing survived on its surface other than a few embers of humankind. But from this crucible emerged the masterworks of evolution. They were fit not just for the new Earth, but for the most barren corners of creation. The glory of humanity would henceforward stretch on, through time and space, to the vanishing point of eternity.
The Illuminati ending, I killed Billy for real. I didn't feel anything. We have a global democratic quote-unquote state. Ophelia is a system / like space station. It feels very ominous in a lot of ways. It's a surveillance state. It's not as bad as the other endings, but I'm not going to have like this gay interracial communism for life. I ain't doing it.
Historians no longer doubt that an event such as the collapse was necessary for the emergence of our global democratic state. How else would everyone, high and low, have been convinced to embrace communal scrutiny? It's hard to believe, but prior to 2052, humans lived in armed encampments of hundreds of millions of people. Now, after a century of peace, our great cities flourish. Enormous towers command the landscape on every continent. 1 trillion transactions per second. So much inscrutable activity. Yet we are united, at peace, and free. We owe it all to Ophelia, a name we all know. But what is Ophelia? A system? A place? We all know her name, yet our leaders deny that she even exists. Believe, citizens. Believe in the creator of our world. Is it wrong to love a being you cannot see? Such belief is the highest faculty a human being can develop. If you doubt that she exists, just look around. Look at all she has made.
Those are our 4 endings to Invisible War. It's not a very long game. It's just 6 levels. Just overall, I felt like it was a lot of unfair endings. Like with the Templars, there's no option for us to take out our biomods. And like with the Helios ending, you have all humans linked up together. You get to experience everything together. Like identity, being an individual, and identity don't really exist anymore because you're all experiencing things. Like imagine you get to experience trying to purchase a banana with a counterfeit $20 bill, or the experience of smoking crack or fentanyl, or even the art of street shitting. Imagine like all of your human experiences linked up together, all of the empathy. You could be like black people smashing just a few windows, like my friend Chris Davis says.
There is one awkward moment where Alex scolds the Order for destroying machines that are polluting the local area and gives them the whole vandalism is still a crime speech. That definitely got my attention, given how some people in the real world are more concerned with a few broken windows than the lives of black people.
Or you could get up to cool, gay, interracial stuff like my friend Grimbeard says. Think of all the experiences that you're missing out on.
Considering how low the bar was at the time, I guess it's impressive for 2003 that 1, they didn't have the feminine Alex be the one that can offer to sleep their way into a locked room, and 2, that these gay characters were not played for a laugh, but just a normal part of life not worth examining. So like, the possible 3-way doesn't have a conclusion. He tells you to wait for him in his kitchen because his security system will trigger, but when you show up to his place, nobody's there yet, so you just complete the task and then leave. Were I in charge, I think it would have been clever for this to lead to a Far Cry 4 style secret ending, where if you just wait in the kitchen for 20 minutes without heading into his living room, you know, they'd stumble through the door and then just over the credits.
All of this is ingrained in you without a choice. Does the experience of doing things yourself matter? I think it does. You've all kind of done it before. Like if one guy reads a book, you've all read this book. And yeah, you've all kind of done it since it's being shared. You're no longer human. You're something else. You're efficient code. You couldn't really compare yourself to a human being that was not in under JC's biomod control. There's nowhere to run. There's no way to opt out of JC's rule. It's very dystopic and ugly, and I think like with the Helios voice in this ending, they were definitely playing into more how sinister it was. I still felt it was very sinister in the first game, but this is even more reason why the Helios ending is bad. And I know maybe some people think that I'm memeing about the Templars, but like you have this horrible fake democracy, usury, Illuminati ending. You have you are no longer a human being. You are just like code and data in the JC ending. And the Omar ending is the Omar take over the world and start exploring space, but they're not human anymore. And then the Templar ending, you're still human, right? There's a chance for maybe someday things get better. And if the Templars were just written with just a hint of nuance, like some of the examples I brought up where I think they're definitely sabotaged and made out to be these really pathetic villains, which I don't disagree with the talking points about like maybe there's nothing wrong with not wanting biomods, not wanting to augment yourself and just live as a pure human being. That sounds okay to me. But of course they're cartoonishly evil, right? And no one presents like a good argument from their side, really. Yeah, unironically, I think they are the best option because you're not really given an option like Tong's ending from the first game. They're really the only game in town. Like, I think the original game made money, so where the fuck did it go? Like, 6 levels. We had 6 levels here. Seattle, Cairo, Trier, Antarctica, Cairo again. And this Cairo is cut in half for content because so many buildings are just locked down. You cannot enter them. And then we have Liberty Island. In the original game, we went to Hell's Kitchen 3 times. It was good. It was really good. It made it a setting. You got to meet some of these NPCs several times, so you cared a little bit. In the original game, we had Liberty Island, Battery Park, Hell's Kitchen as well, LaGuardia. We had the NSF Hell's Kitchen the second time. We had the MJ-12, UNATCO, Hong Kong, Hell's Kitchen the third time. Hell's Kitchen again, Hong Kong, the Naval Yard, Paris, the Cathedral, Vandenberg, the Sub Base, the Ocean Lab, the Missile Silo, Area 51. There was so much. There was so much in the first game compared to this. Deus Ex fans wouldn't have been happy with anything. I think that is complete bullshit and cope. People would have been happy with, people will complain. There have been some people that will complain no matter what. But the vast majority of people, I think, would have been fine if it just met you halfway in the middle, right? Did some good stuff. Like, had like half of the content of the first game, but you just cut everything off. Yeah, the setting overall just really pissed me off. Fantasy sci-fi. It's not cyberpunk. Area base damage, that's gone. I did think some of the passive mods were like the strength thing are a decent concept. I'm not against the idea of like passive augmentations. I think that's okay. Wasn't done great. Don't have like reloading in this game. I like being able to see how many bullets I have left in the clip, because sometimes you could fuck yourself in a fight in the first game if you didn't go in with your guns properly loaded and you had to reload and it took a few seconds. And yeah, you could fuck yourself up. You can't lean around corners. You could do this in the first game. I didn't do it a lot. I probably should have done it more. But you can't do that here from what I could tell. Characters forgive you for killing their loved ones and their closest friends in this game. Like, Chad forgives you. I think. I didn't do it where I killed Nicolette. I did kill her later on when I did the Leo ending. But, like, you could kill Nicolette earlier when you got her free in Trier. And I think Chad is just, like, upset with you. He's like, but I'm still going to work with you, Alex. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you remember Gunther hunting you down, killing the smuggler, all in this revenge quest to get back at you for Anna? That's good. That's character. He loved Anna. He really loved Anna, and he's going to try to kill you for her. I don't know if this was answered in the game, and I'm sorry if this is like really, really dumb, but after you heal JC Denton and he merges with Helios in Antarctica, he is now almost invincible, right? He is merged with the Helios AI. He is godlike, the most powerful being on the planet. Why does he need our help? Why at Liberty Island does he need us to run around and do shit for him? If he's that powerful, if he's powerful enough to freeze the oceans, why can he not kill all of his enemies and even just kill us since we're no longer needed? Is this explained in the game? And why is this super important, vital Aquinas stuff in the bombed out UNATCO headquarters? How in all of these years has someone not come by and claimed this shit for themselves? That doesn't make sense to me, that this Aquinas shit is just lying around and anyone could have taken it. They're just homeless people camped out in UNATCO. So why has no one's taken this shit? I don't know. But like, yeah, if JC's like a fucking god, why can not just annihilate all of the Templars and just get Paul back and then, yeah, just kill everyone else? I don't get it. Kill us, take the Aquinas sub. It shouldn't be hard for him, right? He's God. He gets to respawn thanks to Helios. I think he has the universal constructors, so can he not just make an army of Greys and whatever other monsters he needs under his command? Was that a dumb comment? Maybe. Basically listed out all the complaints I had, like, no, the quests aren't very good, the characters aren't very good, the plot's not good. It's a very shitty game. Not just because it followed Deus Ex, but that made it hurt even more. If you just changed the story a bit and you gave it a completely different title, it's not a good game. Holy shit, it's not a good game. But this is something called the Deus Ex Invisible War, the movie. I'll have a link to this below, but This is fucking funny. It's like a parody script of Invisible War. I think it's fucking hilarious. But I'm just going to read you some excerpts from it. Billy Adams. I'm Billy Adams. While I'm pretty much the only friend you have left at the moment, I'll maintain a strictly business-like approach to our relationship. Tarsus has been using us as test subjects for biomodification this whole time. Open your eyes, sheeple. I'm Leo Jankowski, and I'm a condescending prick. In fact, I'm going to keep calling you Chicago, thereby incessantly reminding you of your hometown's destruction. And I'm Clara Sparks, a naive ditz. Golly gee, just let me get out of your way. We're under attack. Rather than do the same thing they did in Chicago, the order is now sent in no less than 6 low-level foot soldiers. We're doomed. This is with Donna Morgan and Alex. Oh, there's another point to beat you over the head with. We fund enclaves for the rich and appropriately build them right on top of the poor. You don't have to exaggerate inequality like that. It's bad enough the developers decide to make poor and sleazy NPCs such as janitors and construction workers sound like Gilbert Gottfried. Don't mind if I do. One last thing. Why are so many important NPCs female now? Oh, we needed to offset the previous game's predominantly male cast. I mean, there was really only Anna Navarre. Oh yeah, that Harvey guy was crying about that in the Deus Ex Bible. What a bitch. Alex fights his way through the lab. He passes through radiation but survives by eating some bread he found in a dumpster. Eventually, he finds Layla and Nassif. Anyway, it won't take you very long to read through that, but it was funny as shit. If you think the script's funny, you might enjoy something called Hate Spree. It's very funny, but edgy and offensive. You can check that out if you want. It's for free, and I have a link to it below. But yeah, it is very in your face, offensive, and edgy. Keep that in mind. But if you thought that script was funny, you might also like that. I'm going to be playing through the other Deus Ex games, and have started Human Revolution already. I'm not loving it. I'm not very far in yet, but some things are good, but other things I'm not really liking, so that'll be coming. Oh, and why did these game covers look progressively worse? Like, the cover for Deus Ex 1 looks really good. You looking up, there's a light coming on you, the helicopter's in the background. Invisible War, you kind of look like a douchebag, you're pointing a gun. And the third one, it just looks like kind of a Marvel modern movie poster look. And then the fourth one looks even worse in that regard. And I'm like, holy shit, why the covers get so fucking bad? And last thing, I'll put this at the end because I know it's annoying, but if you like reading, I do have a book that is dark fantasy, Irish mythology. If that sounds kind of interesting, you can check out a video where I talk about a little more on the channel, or you can read some chapters, or you can read the first chapter for free on my Substack. But the book does come with some art. You can see that on the screen right now. But yeah, if you kind of like Irish mythology or dark fantasy, you might enjoy it. It's called Dualahan. But that's going to be it. Human Revolution in probably a few weeks. I think it's going to take me a little longer because Invisible War was so short. Invisible War, very, very bad.